come up and sit here. Tom Lyons, where are you? Maybe he's in the men's room. I'll go ahead and start without him. He's the last one anyhow, at the end of the table. My name is Sandy Walker, and on behalf of Shale Justice, the Planning Committee, and people in our community who are concerned about this pipeline and compressor station, I welcome you. Our mantra is, it isn't a done deal, as you may notice from our name tags. The Atlantic Sunrise Pipeline, proposed by Williams Transco Company, is the focus of our discussion tonight. And I'm wondering how many are here from Williams. Do we have any Williams representatives tonight? Okay. Do we have any elected officials from our county here? Supervisors, commissioners, anyone? Good for you. Let's give that man a hand. Thank you for coming. Tonight's discussion will touch upon the pipeline and its compressor stations that are proposed for our county, top to bottom, as well as 8 other counties in Pennsylvania. We, they, and the people all over Pennsylvania and in fact the USA are expressing major concerns regarding these pipelines, the fracking, the waste from the fracking, the compressor stations, everything that it brings with them. And in our case, it's a 42-inch pipeline with gas traveling through it at 1,400 to 1,500 pounds of pressure per inch, and initially 2 compressor stations. We contend that this pipeline and the ensuing proposed 400,000 new wells, the waste, the noise, the potential accidents, threats to aquifers, all for this Tulsa, Oklahoma company to take a shortcut through our county to more quickly line their pockets. There are 66,797 people who live in our county. About 300 of them could receive something in the way of dollars from Williams for the use of their land, perhaps during the construction phase through their businesses. But the other 98% of us are not gaining anything but a headache, literally, from this pipeline, and we are a very large group. FERC and PHMSA are 2 terms you will hear tonight as people speak. FERC stands for the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. It's a quasi-federal entity located in the Department of Energy. It consists of 5 commissioners whose activities, quote, shall not be subject to further view by the Secretary of Energy or any other officer or employee of the department. Congress and the President do not generally interfere with FERC's decisions. They are funded, this is FERC, is funded solely by the fees of the coal, gas, oil, and hydro energy producing companies. FERC sends them a bill annually and asks that these companies send their required assessment to a bank or a lockbox. The monies received, $305 million in 2013, are used to provide 100% of FERC's budget. So FERC is a regulatory agency for energy companies that they regulate, and the companies that they regulate provide 100% of their budget. The other term you will hear tonight is PHMSA, and that stands for Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration. And since 1986, it has kept records of pipeline incidents, infractions, fines, suits, penalties, property damage, death, associated with pipeline operations in the U.S. There's a long list of these associated with the Williams partners and their subordinate contractors. Tonight we have 7 speakers bringing their expertise to this meeting. They all know a great deal more than they have time to tell you. John Walker, who has studied environmental issues for years, will give us a snapshot of the safety record of Williams Transport Company and their proposed pipeline for our county. We'll hear from John Trollope, a man who studied the issues of fracking and pipelines and compressor stations over years. He could talk for quite a while, and I could listen for quite a while, because he knows so much. But for tonight, he will speak to the losers in this gas drilling, transporting, exporting, the economic impact for us and others, and who is this Williams Company really? Next, Dr. Jen Wisner, who is an expert in her field of groundwater hydrology and geomorphology, will address how the Williams Company plans could affect our water, our aquifers, our wells, our streams, our springs, and the drilling waste could affect, how that will affect us as well. Next is Chad Nicholson, who has traveled here and he is from the Community for Environmental Legal Defense Fund, called CELDEF. And he will discuss how this issue is bigger than we are and what we can do about it. Next are Tim Spieth and Melinda Clatterbuck, and they have both traveled here from Lancaster tonight because they can give us a perspective regarding their fight regarding this Atlantic Sunrise Pipeline. They're a little ahead of us, so they can give us some clues as to what we can do. And last will be Tom Lyons, who stays up nights worrying about the impact that this could have on our future generations, and whose son is working on this issue in Western Pennsylvania. And he will address our rights and responsibilities. We've asked them all to make their statements fairly brief because afterwards we would like you to have time to give us your questions and comments. So at this point, I will turn the meeting over to the first speaker, John Walker.
Next August 6th, I will have lived in Columbia County for 50 years. I appreciate what Columbia County is. First, let me say this. You've already heard it once, you might hear it again. The pipeline is not a done deal. The information that we have researched about Williams' record is lengthy and very complex. And what I will share with you is only a small portion of that record. Our time spent with you this evening is intended to help you to understand why those of us who have spent time researching the Atlantic Sunrise Pipeline have concluded it is not needed and should not be built. The PHMSA, and I will refer to what Sandy described to you, the Safety Administration has a record. And we have reviewed that record, and the record includes the date of the incident, the company involved, the location, the town, the city, the county, and the state, and the amount of property damage, as well as additional information. The period from 1988 to 2009 revealed 88 incidents that Williams was listed as the company involved. 73 of those caused property damage. Those incidents were reviewed by Richard Stover in a report on America's Dangerous Pipelines. 73 incidents resulted in property damages of over $102 million, and the Williams Company was listed as the company in the PHMSA report. According to Stover, PHMSA made a judgment and listed the incident as significant on the basis of whether it had hospitalized or killed someone, damages amounted to more than $50,000, or more than 5 barrels of highly volatile substances, or 50 barrels of other liquid was released, or if the liquid exploded or burned. Since the PHMSA record we reviewed included the only incidents up to 2009 on Williams' record, we decided to look further. We found a record of 30 incidents under the heading of the Compliance and Safety Records of Williams, Williams Partners, and Williams Midstream. That document included a source reference for all incidents cited, which means you could go on that site and find the incident and find how it got on this list. Further research added 12 additional incidents with reports from other public sources. The additional records we found included 12 incidents in which costs, only 12 instances in which costs were reported, but all are included on the Williams record. Although some of the dates overlap on the PHMSA report and the additional issues on the Williams record, we were careful to avoid reporting costs more than once. The Williams record includes, this is what the kinds of things that happened. A class action lawsuit, fines, penalties. They reported false data to manipulate the California and the United States natural gas markets, compressor explosions and fires, gas leaks, deaths, injury, benzene, water pollution, 3 years of non-compliance with the Federal Clean Air Act, and failure to follow Williams' own internal policies. It also reports of 12 instances in a Colorado town, population of 1,000, and at least 3 compressor explosions and/or fires in northeastern Pennsylvania. One notable incident reported on Williams' record: on December 3rd, 2011, a gas transmission pipeline exploded and burned in Marengo County, Alabama. A 47-foot section of the pipe was hurled more than 200 feet from the failure area. Now, you can see on the back table some of these compressor fires, and you can find them on the internet by just going to compressor fires, and you will be amazed. As a result of the incident and the subsequent investigation, PHMSA noted that Williams, and I quote, has not determined whether the conditions that caused the failure exist on other portions of Transco, close quote, and determined that the continued operation of the Transco pipeline, quote, would result in likely serious harm to life, property, and the environment. 12 of these incidents totaled more than $725,464,854, and what was not included, I don't know what the amount was, but it was the largest civil penalty ever assessed at that time. The Williams record also includes an evacuation in a town in Wyoming. The report said that people living in the town were evacuated a distance of 3 miles, which would tell you they were concerned about what was happening within that 3-mile radius. I want to also point out that the items I have described are real events. They actually happened. They're not dreamed up, as some people would have you believe. Some have said that the best predictor of the future is the past. I'll have a comment on that in just a minute. We should stop the Atlantic Sunrise Pipeline because eminent domain is not meant to be a profit center for Williams Transco. If you received the flyer that was provided with the November 11th press enterprise, there is a website that provides a listing of some of the events I've just described, and you should take time to look at that website. It will give you a good indication of what Williams is and does. I believe you will see incidents and accidents, questionable ethical decisions, and instances of reporting false data in an effort to manipulate the gas market. Now, some have said that the best predictor of the future is the past. Williams' past should never be our future.